And a warm welcome along to today's United Kingdom Talk. Chris Reardon with you for the next hour. No mucking about today, straight into the emails. We might have to have 2 email catch-up programmes. Oh, it's marvellous. We love it. First of all, an email that I've pushed to the top of the list. Now, I don't usually do this. Boys and girls, but this is a special email, and it needs to be responded to by you, dear listeners and viewers to United Kingdom Talk. It needs to be responded. One of our friends is requiring our help, and it says, Chris and dear friends of United Kingdom Talk show, my family and I are hoping to go to Orlando next May. Oh, we love it. Actually, now that I think about it, next May is quite a long way to go. So did I really need to push this to the top? No, I didn't. I'll put it on the second one. Right, first email. I'm feeling mischievous today. Be warned, mischievous. All right, well, we'll start with that one. My family and I are hoping to go to Orlando next May. Now, I've been there 3 times. Very, very lucky to have been there 3 times. So I may be able to help you. I wonder what the question is. We need access to a 2-person push chair or stroller. Do you know, I don't like those new strollers. I'm sorry, dear. When I was a child, I remember pushing my sister in this great big pram with springs either side. Did anyone remember those ones? These things were massive. Well, almost, you know, like those old, well, not necessarily old, but you know the big oil drums? The pram, it almost looked like an oil drum that had been cut in half with great big wheels and springs at the bottom. These things, years ago in the 60s and 70s, of course, these things look like they could have gone on for years and years. Now you look at these so-called push chairs and what are they called? Buggies. I hate that word. Buggy, and they look like they're going to last about 6 months, and then you have to replace them again. Mothers who are washing at the moment with children, how many buggies or push chairs have you had, eh? And did they last very long? I want to know. Who remembers those old push chairs with the great big wheels, rubber wheels, and I don't think you had to pump them up the tyres, did you? But now these things, they've got these tiny little wheels like that, usually 2 together, don't they? So they have two forces. They usually have 8 wheels, these buggies, and they're the most uncomfortable things I've ever seen in my life. Oh, no, dear. I was so much more lucky in my fully, I was going to say sprung. What's the word? What are those, stabilised? No. What are those things in cars? Shock absorbers. My fully shock-proofed pram. Oh, yes, only the best for baby Christopher. That was it. Come on, mothers. What sort of pram have you got? And did it not last very long? Or do you find those buggies much better? Do they last a long time? Do join in the programme by email. Here is the email address. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Join in any time, okay? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Anyway, I digress. Robert says, I don't want to have to buy one because I only need it for 2 weeks. He means in Orlando, of course. I'm sorry to say that it's been a while since flying into and out of the UK. I have always felt that passengers would just... Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, this is a completely different subject now. Oh, sorry, Robert. Sorry to correct you here, dear, but you should have started a new paragraph there. Sorry. I mean, I could have been an English teacher, couldn't I? Who is it? I could have been an English teacher. But shall we read the email again in case there's confusion? And I shall personally, Robert, correct your email as I go. Start off again. Chris and dear friends of United Kingdom Talk Show. My family and I are hoping to go on holiday to Orlando in Florida next May, and we need access to a 2-person pushchair or stroller. I don't want to have to buy one because I only need it for 2 weeks. Do any of... And it then says, does any of your listeners... It should say do, dear. I'm helping you. I'm not looking for faults. I would never do that, dear. I would not look for faults. I don't want to have to buy one, because I only need it for 2 weeks. Do any of your listeners know of a place where one... That's very good, that is, the way you've done that. That was very royal. Very royal. You know when Charles speaks, or the Queen, they always talk about one, don't they? Not I. So, for example, one at the moment is hosting United Kingdom Talk. I do sound quite royal. Of course, she only lives down the road, you know. Oh, yes, Windsor Castle is but a stone's throw from here. Sometimes, I mean, I shouldn't really tell you this. Come closer. Sometimes I'm getting changed. You know, I might get dressed in the morning or something, and I look out the window, and I'm sure I've seen a certain lady of advanced years. I mean, obviously I can't mention who rides horses and has got a family which, to be honest, in recent years has been a bit of a disappointment, some of them. Divorcing and this, that and the other. And I have seen her curtains twitching occasionally when I'm getting changed, and I quickly have to draw my curtains. Not that I'm one that gets changed at the window, you understand that? I'm just saying. I'm not sure if it's her or not, peeking through those net curtains. Well, you don't know, do you? Back to the email. Do any of your listeners know of a place where one could rent such a thing for 2 weeks? Okay? So there we are. Robert in Iceland, going to Orlando next May. Wants to rent a pushchair for 2 weeks. Is that possible? You know what, Robert? I'm pretty sure in Disney you can hire a pushchair, but that's only within Disney. Of course, I suppose once you leave Disney and the resort there, then you have to hand it back. So I'm not sure. Anyone know that? Please let us know. Please assist Robert in his plight for wheelchairs, not wheelchairs, for pushchairs and strollers. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Robert goes on to say, I am sorry to say that it's been a while since flying into and out of the UK. I have always felt that passengers would just love to listen in on our conversations with traffic control and centres. It is rather interesting, yeah, because Robert, he flies planes. Yes, dear. We've got all sorts of talented people join us on this programme, you know. Not just usual trash that listens to other stations. No, don't worry, you're not... If you watch this, you are definitely not trash. You are not trash. He says, so alas, I never did get to use the iPod during flights. Well, thank God for that, because I had this feeling, Robert, on those bored moments. I mean, they must get bored, mustn't they, pilots? Don't you be telling me that you can't afford to get bored because of safety issues, because I don't believe you. I get bored sometimes when I'm doing my jobs. Not this one. I've never been bored doing one of these shows because you're constantly thinking. Do you know, my throat is playing up again. Just a minute, let me clear it. Oh, the mucus has started once again. Funnily that, isn't it? Because the last few shows, of course, we've been in the studio because, to be quite honest, the weather has collapsed a bit here in the UK over the last couple of weeks. We've had a lot of rain and a lot of showers, but can't complain. I mean, there will be people now saying, oh, it's a terrible summer. Actually, we've had some very nice days this year. Here in the UK, we do not expect months and months of sunshine. We just never get it. So a few days of sunshine in a week is good enough for me, certainly. It would be nice to have constant sunshine all the time, but we just don't get it here, and that's that. It's not been too bad this year. Well, I'm glad you haven't been using your iPod on your flight, because I was concerned that Robert was listening to United Kingdom Talk while he was flying planes. God almighty. I mean, it's bad enough. I do know that on occasions he may sit there and have a little cup of tea or something like that. I hope you're not sitting there drinking cans of lager, dear. God. He said it was a fun time, and yes, I have a lot of time for the flight attendants. with having to put up with loudmouth people with attitude. I can't bear people with loud mouths, dear. And it annoying. When I'm not doing this, or when I'm not doing my DJing or bingay or karaoke, I am a quiet person. It's true. I am, I think, a reasonably quiet person. Yes, I am. You don't believe me, do you? And Bob says, they are the stars of the airline world. What, the flight attendants? You're right. You're absolutely right. And it's, most of them, I think all of them, except for one girl, actually. Now, when I think about it, yes. There was one time, and she wasn't on, actually on the planes. She was on ground staff. And she was working for Ryanair, who... now, this was a few years ago. It was 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was checking in to go to France. I was at a little job there doing some DJing in a French ski resort. Okay, and it was. I know why she was in such a blooming bad mood. I got to the desk, and the thing is with Ryanair and indeed all the other cheaper airlines, I can't comment on the other ones because Ryanair is the only one I've had experience with. But you will find that the level of Ryanair, incidentally, it's one of these cheap, no-frills airlines, okay? I don't know what would be a similar one in the States or Australia or anywhere like that. But they have a very low baggage level, something like 20 kilos, I mean, which is nothing. You know, that is, what, 10 bags of sugar. Although, quite honestly, why you would want to take 10 bags of sugar on holiday, I don't know. But it's very low. 20 kilograms is not a lot of weight. And these cheap airlines, I gather, certainly Ryanair does, they will charge you for every single kilo you go over that. There's none of this, oh, it's only a couple of kilos, don't worry. Absolutely not. You will be charged. That's how they make their money. I mean, one would assume, I don't know how the airline industry works, making profits and things like that, but one would assume that if everyone got on a Ryanair plane, okay, and no one paid any extra for anything like sandwiches, drinks, excess luggage, all of that business, I wonder if they would make any money. Do they rely on those extra bits and pieces? I wonder. Anyway, so I'm there. she's weighed my case. Of course, at the time, I was DJing on CDs. Now, I'm completely DJing off my laptop. Incidentally, the new computer is on its way. Did I tell you? I've ordered a brand new super duper fast computer, which should be here within the week. I bought this one from Dell. It's got for those techno people who are listening, it's got a quad processor and 4 gig of RAM. Now, if I tell you the computer I'm using at the moment to create this program and the video is just a single processor, I can't think of the speed of it now. Quite a fast one, but only 512 meg of RAM, and it wasn't possible to upgrade the RAM in this machine. Well, it was, but it was horrendously expensive for some reason. Now, I know, don't start writing in and telling me, oh, you can get memory cheap from here. I checked all those places, and for some reason, this particular machine, it was, we were unable, can I just, oh, it's a bit warm in here. I was not able to, well, I could have upgraded the RAM to 1 gig, but that would have cost me £300. Now, Joy in Acton is wondering what RAM is, aren't you, my darling? RAM is, it's memory, okay? Ever so easy, this one, Joy. If, for example, you had a bad short memory, you'd only have, say, 512 meg of RAM. If you had brilliant lots of memory in your head, you'd have 4 gig of RAM, all right? That's the easiest way to explain it. See? I tell you. And the processor, Joy, well, my processor, for example, is a bit slow now. So say my processor is working at 50 mile an hour. The quad processor will work at sort of, I don't know, 300 mile an hour. So it speeds everything up. Not so bad with the sound side of things, but with the video side of things, it does take me an awful long time to save videos. Like when I've created the video to this program, the programme is just under an hour long. To actually save it takes about 2.25 hours. So hopefully the new computer will speed things up. Yeah, back to the Ryanair thing. So I got to this desk with my suitcase full of clothes, of course, and full of CDs. She said, oh, no, but Jesus, you're overweight. She's like that. I said, okay. She said, go and pay over there. Go on pay. And she was really rude. She was blooming rude, she was. I said, I'll take some of the CDs out. And am I allowed to, because I didn't have any hand luggage, am I allowed hand luggage? Yes, yeah, you're allowed to, I think we could take a couple of carrier bags. So I got a couple of carrier bags off people and started taking those out there. And then she weighed it again. No, you're still overweight, you'll have to pay over there. She was rude. And I know why, because St. Patrick's night, the night before, you see, it was the night before. So obviously she'd been out all night, living it up with a few drinks. And she probably had a headache or something like that. And she was taking it out on me, Chris Reardon, dear. International celebrity, award-winning DJ, landlord, global broadcaster, environmental conservationist, pilot, master of merriment, connector, and your fairy godmother. It's a liberty, that's what it is, dear. Taking it out on me just because you got a headache, you miserable old cow. Anyway, dear. Then I opened the case on the desk. Now, we've got queues behind it. I opened it on the desk. I took out a coat, put the coat on, took out another coat, put that coat on, and then started fishing my CDs out of this box, of this case, and putting them in my pockets. She said, what are you doing now? I said, well, I'm taking stuff out of the case, so I'll carry it on me. And in the end, she went, oh, just close the case and we'll put it through. And that was that. Miserable old cow. I wish I'd looked at her name. I would have written a letter of complaint, dear. Mind you, I don't think they're very good with complaints, are they, Ryanair's, from what I've heard. But I have to say, all the other staff on Ryanair were fantastic. Lovely people on the plane. Really nice people on the plane, walking up and down, selling rolls and crisps and tea and that sort of thing. And all the other Ryanair. It was only this one. But you always get one, don't you? You always get one. I mean, you go in some of the bars sometimes. You always get one. Mind you, there is somewhere I used to work, and they've actually got an assistant manager who is as miserable as sin. I won't say where it is. There may be one or two of you watching at the moment who know who I mean. But I will not reveal his name. Oh, I've told you it's a him now. I will not reveal his name. But, you know, when you go in, I'm nasty. I've watched him serve people. He actually seems to despise the customers he's serving. How on earth can you have someone like that behind a bar? They may well be very good in the office, doing paperwork and adding up figures. But you've got to be nice and pleasant to the customers, haven't you? And she wasn't. That woman on the desk wasn't. Thank you very much for that, Robert. And sure enough, I do agree with you. The girls and boys who are on the airlines, wandering up and down with cups of coffee and, of course, very important, the safety side of things as well. They really are the saviours of some of those planes, aren't they? Now, got to say hello to Dane today. Good afternoon, Dane. Good morning, good evening, whenever you're watching that. He was at Bingay last night. A bit quiet last night. We had a quiet Bingay last night in West 5, but I still had a laugh. I always have a laugh there. And Dane, he goes to the gym every night. Oh, I hadn't noticed that, Dane. Have you just started, dear? I didn't notice any muscles on those arms. Maybe you should wear tight T-shirts round here to accentuate the muscles. And he's also a teacher. He says, I go to the gym every night, I teach and I drink. Well, I know you drink, dear. God almighty, eat and half, knock 'em back. On a Tuesday night in that West 5, I'm telling you, comes in with his friend Jamie, who is also one of my Facebook friends. You too can be a Facebook friend and get all the updates to this show. Just do a search for Chris Reardon London and look for a picture of me holding a cup of tea in a nice armchair in Fortnum and Masons. All right, I shall leave that picture up there for a long time. I like that picture. Chris Reardon London on Facebook, right, if you want to join us there. He doesn't eat pizza, because we were talking about pizza. I did have... Oh, here we go. Bless me, Suko, for I have sinned. Last night, I had a medium Pizza Hut pizza. Okay? Sorry about that, Suko. I did. And actually, do you know what, Suko? I didn't even enjoy that last night. if you're a new viewer or listener, you're wondering who Suko is. Suko is possibly, I think are you the longest listener now, Suko? I'm not sure. When I say long, obviously I don't mean are you 8 foot long. I don't mean that in size, dear. Have you been with us the longest? Who is the longest listener and viewer? That's a good question, isn't it? Huh? Who is the person who's been with me the longest? Let me know. If you think it's you, do you remember when you first started listening and watching? And why haven't you killed yourself yet? Because if I had to listen and watch myself for so long, I would, I think. Dear me. Yeah, we're talking. Well, I was saying to Dane last night at the bingo that I just had a pizza. I didn't even enjoy it. It's weird. It all seemed a bit tasteless to me last night. I don't think they put enough of the tomato sauce paste or whatever it is they put on the base. A bit tasteless, really. And I always feel so bad afterwards. Yesterday afternoon. Now you know those digital scales. Oh, what did I do with the other scales? Oh, they're there. They're right in front. Oh, I was looking for those last night. I've got these scales. 1 minute. These are the analog scales. You know, which can you hear them? Listen. It's those ones you stand on now, and these seem to me to be reasonably accurate. I'm going to weigh myself now, actually. See what they say. Just a minute, because I'm going to throw. I think I'm going to throw. Or maybe I can give them to someone. I don't know. 1 minute. Let me just stand on this. Let's see what this says now. Okay. Well, that says I'm going to go, but I'm not even going to look at those digital scales anymore. I don't think, because they're just a joke. And I'll tell you why in a minute. Because I've got a thing about my weight. I was telling Dane last night. Right. These say 6, 7, 8. About 12 stone 8. Okay. Those scales say about 12 stone 8. Now, I think about 6 months ago, Carl wrote in and says the digital ones should be more accurate. Well, I've found with the digital scales that I've got, they go up and down so much it's unbelievable. Now, let me tell you, on Tuesday this week, okay, I weighed myself at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, just before I went for my afternoon nap, which I have every afternoon, and it's nothing to do with the age, Dane. Afternoon nap. I have been having an afternoon nap since I was 18 years old, and it does work. I mean, look how youthful and young I look. It's all down to that extra bit of sleep in the afternoon. So I weighed myself, and it hit 13 stone. Well, I nearly fell through the floor, dear. Unfortunately, I've got a concrete floor, so that didn't happen. Had it been wooden, I have a feeling I would have gone straight through the bottom. Right, 13 stone at 3 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, after my nap, I got up, made a cup of tea. I stood on those scales again round about 5:15, and it was 12 stone 9. Okay, if you're American, you might not know what a stone is. A stone is 14 pounds, okay? So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So in the space of 2¼ hours, while sleeping, I lost 5 pounds. I don't think so. I don't think so. So those digital scales are really completely useless. I wonder, has anyone else got digital scales and you find the same? Do you find that as you're weighing yourself, you know, and there are vast discrepancies in the weight, or it changes big time? Do let us know if you do. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Dane says he doesn't like pizza too much. He has on rare occasion, but it just clogs me up. Oh, what do you mean by that? Oh, dear. Well, you need plenty of fruit and veg to be regular, Dane. I am, of course, a qualified doctor, nurse and optician. If you've got any problem with any of your body parts at all, do let me know and I'll only be too happy to help. Now, you're saying it clogs you up. Well, I don't recommend enemas. Or those, what are those other things they do now that you can pay for? Colonic irrigation. Don't recommend those, dear. I mean, if God in heaven above had wanted to have colonic irrigation, he would have given us all large pipes, wouldn't he? You would have been born with a pipe in your hand, waiting to be attached to a tap. I don't recommend those. What I do recommend is plenty of fruit and veg and maybe some bran flakes, dear. All right? Pour up, but it clogs him up. Oh, dear. All the thought of it. then trouble is when you get clogged up like that, you have to sit there for ages and you push and it doesn't matter. Right. So that's it. And I was saying to him, I did respond to his Facebook message saying that I'd quite like, because I've been watching this programme on UFOs, how fantastic would that be, okay, to just be out somewhere and a UFO lands right in front of you. Huh? And little beings or from another planet come out. I would love to meet and greet them, wouldn't you? Would you take the risk? The question is. Because I think it's in a lot of humans to lash out when they're afraid. But I don't think I'd be afraid. Dane reckons I would probably freak out. But I don't. I think I'd try and make some sort of contact. I would just stand there, and presumably, I think they would just stand there, and we would look at each other for a while. Of course, there is the danger that they would suddenly grab me and eat me. No, 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 no. I could be eaten by an alien. Perish the thought, dear. So if I'm not here on the next show, if you switch on suddenly and there's no show, you know what might have happened. Thank you, Dane. Always nice to see you playing along at the bingo. Sorry, it was a bit quiet last night, wasn't it? Blah, blah. He's very good at doing the noises, Dane. Jason's... sorry, not Jason. Jamie's very quiet, isn't he? Jamie's Dane's friend. He doesn't say a lot, though. Oh, and you mentioned Ed's Diner. Do I want to go to Ed's Diner? Would love to. Yeah, we'll do that one day. Dane, all right? We will go to Ed's Diner one day. Although I did go last week to Ed's Diner. Okay? I went with my friend Ratch. Now, he runs one of the bars, the other bar I work at in King's Cross. And we went to Mr. Ed's. Now, I nearly died when we got the bill at the end. We had already decided to pay for our own. Thank God for that, dear. God's sake. Imagine paying for someone else while you're out. But we had, get this right, I think this is going to have to be another Bless Me Suko for I Have Sinned. Bless Me Suko for I Have Sinned. Last Wednesday night at 9:30 at night, I went to Ed's Diner in Soho, and I had... Oh, no, well, wait. Let me tell you what we bought all together, then I'll see if you can guess the price. We had 2 strawberry shakes, absolutely delicious. Those strawberry shakes, I'm sorry, the shakes at McDonald's, they just taste like a blooming load of chemicals to me. Have you ever let a shake from McDonald's, I don't mean as an Arab person, I mean one I mean one of those, you know, those milkshakes, okay? Have you ever had one of those in McDonald's and let it warm up slightly and then tried to drink it? It is the most vile thing you've ever had. Awful. But the shakes in Ed's Diner, and also another place in London called Gourmet Burger, okay? The shakes in there, they're really nice because they make it with ice cream and all that. Oh, beautiful. So, excuse me, we had 2 strawberry shakes. We had 2 classic burgers with cheese. Okay? We had 1 bowl of chips between us. Oh, yes! Gotta watch our weight. We had 2 bowls of onion rings. I had that Kit Kat pudding thing. I don't know. It's in a long glass and it's got ice cream and so much cream on the top. It's sinful. It really is. And loads of Kit Kats stuck in the top, you know, long chocolate things. And also, he had, he didn't have that. He had a piece of cheesecake. Okay? And he had a bottle of beer. How much for that lot? Come on, how much do you reckon that lot was? £44. £44, dear, for burger and chips. What a cheek. Thank God I didn't have to pay for it all. It's a £22 each. But it was nice. I mean, we do, you know, we do enjoy it there. Ratch and I, we've been going there sort of once a year for the last, I don't know, for about 8 or 9 years. And it's just like quite a nice little night out. So now and again, it's all right. But Dane has said he likes Ed's and he wants to come to Ed's. And so, yes, Dane, we will go to Ed's, maybe on a Monday or a Wednesday night at some point in the near future. When are you free? Let me know. I shall come and pick you up from your little hovel that you live. If it's Slough. Is it Slough you live? I can't remember now. I think you live just down the road in Slough. All right? Okay, on we go. Have I given you the email address? Yes, I have, haven't I? Chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is the email address. Now, got to say hello today to Suko. Hello, Suko. And she has been to see Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia, here I go again. Mama, how can I resist you? Miss something broken-hearted. Ooh, since the day we part. Oh, I love ABBA. I love ABBA. One of my favourite ABBA tracks is That's... Oh, excuse me, hiccups. Is That's Me. Do you know that one? I think it's on the Arrival album. That's Me. It's got lots of piano playing at the beginning and all that. Suko says, I took Jade to see Mamma Mia the movie yesterday. We were anxious to see it because the Broadway production was one of my favourite musicals ever. Well, let me tell you, I too have seen Mamma Mia on Broadway. Yes, I've also seen Mamma Mia in London, and I have to say the experiences were very different. The show, of course, is exactly the same, but I found in the UK, at the end of the show, when they start doing all the ABBA numbers and Dancing Queen and all that, the whole audience get up and are dancing and clapping along. In New York, everyone is sitting there quietly watching what's going on. Very, very different. I don't know if it's still like that now. It might have been because I would imagine perhaps that America doesn't know ABBA as well as we do here in the UK or indeed Europe. Suko says, would the movie deliver? She's gone to see it at the cinema, you see. We waited online for the 2 o'clock show. The mother and daughter ahead of us got tickets. We were next. Sold out. Oh, God, no. How unlucky is that? Can you imagine that? So how long were you in the queue for? That must be awful when you're waiting in the queue for hours and hours. And then when it's your turn, sorry, sold out. That's terrible. Suko says, a good sign for the movie, but where did that leave us? I purchased tickets for the 4:45 show and we went around the block to get Italian ices and then walked home. We left our home again at 4 o'clock because although we already had our tickets, we wanted good seats. Oh, are you not ticket numbers then? Do you not get seat numbers on the tickets? Clearly not. Good thing we did. Sold out again. My word. But would the movie be as good as the show? I had purposely avoided reading any critiques because I wanted to form my own untainted opinion. Will I go along with you all the way there? I too, Suko, often do not read critics' things. I suppose, really, when I've been to see a film, I mean, I complain about critics sometimes and the way they seem to slate people's work and what have you. But I've sat here before and criticised films that I haven't liked. There was a popular one a while ago. Was it Cloverleaf or Cloverfield? I think it was, where this, I don't know, it's something to do with someone landing or an alien landing or something. And I hated it. I absolutely hated that film. It was the way it was made. It was all like, sorry, was that did you get a squeak then? It's my microphone. It needs to be a bit oiled. I just absolutely hated the way that film was made. All on like a home video camera. And it was all shaking all the time like that. Oh, it really annoyed me, that film. And the beginning of it, the first, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes of it were set at someone's house party. Well, really, that part of the film could have been over and done with in 2 minutes. It was just such a waste of time and everyone's time. Hated that film, Cloverfield. So perhaps I too am guilty sometimes of criticising things because it was clearly, it seemed to have been a popular film among a lot of people. A lot of people liked it. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. But yeah, I don't read critics either. I think some of them are really horrible. I mean, they would of course say, I suppose, that they're paid to say horrible things. I don't know. On the other hand, I suppose if you are a big international star or something like that, then you are up for that sort of thing, aren't you? You do know it's going to come, maybe. Suko says, the movie takes place on a beautiful Greek island where Donna, played by Meryl Streep, has raised her daughter Sophie alone while running a small rundown hotel. I've never been to Greece instead. Who's been to Greece? Anyone? Did you like it there? Let me know if you have. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. It opens with Sophie singing, I have a dream. I love that one. While mailing letters to her 3 possible fathers, inviting them to her wedding. Her 2 best friends arrived on the island, and she tells them she has found her mother's diary and invited 3 men, one of might possibly be her father, to her wedding without her mother's knowledge. They sing, honey, honey, kiss me, baby, honey, honey. I might have the wrong words, but I always have the right tune, dears, all right? It all seems so corny. It just isn't translating well. Yet, enter Meryl Streep, greeting her 2 best friends, once her backup singers in the musical trio Donna and the Dynamos at the ferry. Tanya, Christine Baranski, and Rosie, Julie Waters, I like Julie Waters, arrive, and the fun begins. These 3 can do nothing wrong, and as for Meryl Streep, well, it's another Oscar-worthy performance and very different from anything you've ever seen her do. The dancing queen sing, you are the dancing queen, young and sweet, only 17. Da-dun-da-dun. So I'm breaking into song here. With 3 of them, and all the women on the island is worth the price of the admission. Then the dads arrive, and even more fun. Sam, Pierce Bronson, and Harry, Colin Firth, meet at the boat slip, and they find they've missed the last ferry until tomorrow. Then we meet Bill, Stellan Skarsgård, who is one of the possible dads, and he just happens to have a boat. Serendipity is... Oh, just a minute. Just a minute. Let me turn that down. Sorry. I keep meaning to turn down the sound on the phone there so that we're not interrupted with. Let me see. Mind you, where are we going now? Oh yes. Then let's read that bit again. Then we meet Bill, Stellan Skarsgård. Is it Skarsgård? Skarsgård, who is, I've never heard of him. Never ever heard of him. Remember, I am a bit useless with celebrities, that sort of thing. Who is one of the possible dads, and he just happens to have a boat called Serendipity. Mind you, they did not know each other before this. Their counter scene singing Voulez-vous, aha, take it now or leave it, aha. Oh, I love that one. They sing Voulez-vous with all the men on the island is another side-splitting scene well worthy of attention. I wouldn't give you the rest of the story. I won't give the rest of the story away, but I will tell you that Benny Andersson of ABBA, who wrote the music with Bjorn Ulvaeus, I can never say that, Bjorn, we'll just call him Bjorn, with Bjorn, also of ABBA, and Stig Anderson makes a cameo appearance as a piano player in one of the musical numbers. And I have to mention the indigenous inhabitants of the island who pop up as backing singers in every musical number. As for the singing of these fine actors who are not known for their vocal talent, I will rate them for you. Mind you, this is my opinion. Pierce Bronson, I love you, Pierce, but keep your day job. Stellan Skarsgård, not bad. Colin Firth has a pleasant voice. Julie Waters and Christine Baranski are both so funny, who cares whether or not they can sing? Amanda Seyfried, who plays Sophie, is very appealing and has a lovely voice. And then there's Meryl Streep. Can she sing? You bet she can. She is wonderful. Not amazing, but very, very good. So for 108 minutes of pure, light-hearted fun, Don't miss Mamma Mia. You're sure to leave the theatre with an ABBA song in your heart. Listen to the beat of it right from the start. Oh, it was one of the old gang show songs. That, of course, wasn't in the show. That's something I just put in there. You're sure to leave the theatre with a song in your heart. To read my other blogs, because Suko does write blogs, and I hate that word. Can I say summaries? She writes bits and pieces about all shows and that on Broadway, and you can read those by going to James Dean and Madam Aries blogs at www.matineeshow.co.uk. Okay, www.matineeshow.co.uk. All right, Suko. And Suko was saying, referring to one of the shows we did a little while ago, she says, a couple of the shows, you asked if anyone had a relative who is camp but not into the same sex, as in gay. I have a brother-in-law who I adore and fits this description. Many people have noticed it and commented on it. You see, this is the trouble. If you're straight and camp, it brings up a whole set of new problems. I shouldn't really tell you this, dear. Again, come a little bit closer because we don't want people knowing too much about this. But there is a man I know who is absolutely straight. No question that he fancies other blokes, right? There is a man who runs a radio station where this programme is played out. Yes, and he is totally straight, only fancies girls. But he is as camp as a Christmas tree. Absolutely camp as a Christmas. When you see him, sometimes you do have to ask yourself, oh, I wonder if he's a bit, a bit like Chris Reardon. But he's not. Straight as the eye can see. But as camp as a Christmas tree. Isn't it funny? Sometimes you see some of these little hard nuts in hoodies and things like that, wearing bright white tracksuits and things like that, and they just look too clean and well presented to be straight boys, but they probably are. They're going around their straight business like anyone's business, chatting up girls left, right and centre, and actually looking quite camp. It's a bit of a worry. So you can have camp gay guys and camp straight guys. It's true. Myself, of course, I don't come across at all as being camp. If I didn't tell you that actually I bat for the other team, you wouldn't even know, would you? You wouldn't even know, dear. I mean, I would not look out of place on a building site. It's true. Making the tea and the coffee, yeah, I know. Suko says, he and my sister-in-law were married 37 years ago and got divorced. They remained a few years later. Oh, sorry. You've got that story as well. They remarried a few years later and are still together. Can I tell you, Suko, I hope she doesn't mind me telling you this, but my sister did that. Her and her husband split up years ago. They were married for a period of time. Then they split up. Did they get divorced? I think they got divorced. I'm not sure now, but they certainly split up. And then they got back together again and remarried again in the same church. At the time, my mum was alive then, and she wasn't keen on the whole getting remarried again in the church. She couldn't see the point of it, because my mum was a very strong Catholic. And as far as she's concerned, once you're married in a Catholic church, that's it. So the whole thing of going through it all again. But it was a lovely day anyway. So yes, that's interesting, isn't it? We've got something in common there, Suko. And Suko says, but while they divorced, he dated other women. So I'm pretty sure he's not gay. No, probably not. In case you don't know, there is a term for this type of guy. It's metrosexual. Okay? Metrosexual, presumably. So what does that mean? Camp, but not gay. Yes, okay. Here's the definition. A metrosexual is a straight man who styles his hair with three different products and actually calls them products. I know what you mean, because you see, Suko and anyone else watching, when you see me out I mean, funnily enough, one of the girls in the straight pub that I do on Friday nights where I DJ at, she says I am the worst dressed gay man that she has ever come across because I have no idea. I really am not the stereotype. Things in the house don't match. It doesn't bother me that perhaps the carpet might be one colour and the walls are another colour. I know there are certain colours to go together, but I can't see it in my eyes. I really can't. My dress sense is non-existent. Even when I have spent money on clothes, which I don't spend a lot of money on clothes, but when I've put on jackets and trousers and shirts, they just hang on me like a sack of old potatoes. It just doesn't work for me. I'm no good at dressing at all. So, I mean, is there a word for people like me? Eh? Because I'm not... I'm just not, am I? Here is let me see. Where else it's freedom. I certainly don't call stuff I put on I don't put anything on my hair. It gets washed with the cheapest shampoo I can possibly find, dear. A man who spends a metrosexual is a man who spends a great deal of time and money on his appearance and lifestyle. Loves Broadway musicals, well, I like those, and foreign films. No, I don't like those. Someone who is not afraid to embrace his feminine side. The term was invented in 1994 by Mark Simpson, and it drifted slowly from one media source to another. The Metro City prefix indicates that this man's purely urban lifestyle, where the sexual suffix come from homosexual, meaning that this man, who, although he is usually straight, embodies the heightened aesthetic sense often associated with certain types of gay men. Examples include soccer star David Beckham, who is known to paint his fingernails. Oh, for God's sake, dear. I mean, I don't do anything like a man painting his fingernails. Whatever will it come to? Does he really? I know he does some very odd things with his hair, and didn't he wear knickers once? Didn't he wear his wife's knickers? I mean, what's all that about? It ain't right. It is not right, dear. Men parading around in women's clothes, whatever next. Now, aren't we having a laugh today? P.S. While doing some research for the matinee, I came upon a song from the musical Candide called Glitter and Be Gay. And the first thing that came to mind was you in your red sparkly jacket. Thank you very much, dear. I do wish that I had a bit more dress sense, to be honest. You know, even when I'm walking around doing the bingo, I think I start off okay, but by the end of the evening, I look a right scruff pot. I really do. Did I tell you, got these new pair of black trousers from Asda? So I wore those last night, and they're too long. They're too blooming long. And I'm a fairly short person. I think I'm about 5'7", I think I am in height. And it's difficult to find a pair of trousers that are the correct length. My nan, she used to take my trousers up. You know, when I was young, well, not even when I was younger, when I was in my 20s as well, she would take my trousers up. She'd sit there with a needle and cotton, sewing them up and perhaps cutting a bit off the end. And I have tried to take trousers up. Well, you know that Wonder Web stuff? It's like it's a white like stuff, and you put it in between your trouser legs, you fold it over and iron it. Now, I have tried to do it with that, but I find after a couple of washes, it just falls down again. Completely useless. And it costs you an arm and a leg when you're taking things like... Maybe I need to learn how to sew. Eh? Can someone teach me how to sew, please? I need to learn how to sew. Huh? Can you do that for me? Who's going to volunteer to teach me how to sew? Maybe Tommy. What about you, Tommy? Irish Tommy who watches the show. Can you teach me how to sew? Hello to Susan. Now, we're still going quite far back with the emails. Susan sent this on the 21st of July. I just watched your Saturday show this morning when I got to work. I really loved you singing Rhinestone Cowboy. You did a fantastic job. I'm really proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. You need to sing more often. Thank you again for the hours of entertainment you provide to all of us. All I do is sit here and have a chin wag with you. That's all I do, my dear. I don't think I'm the only one that looks forward to your shows every week. It's very kind of you to say so. 3 a week? How'd you put up with 3 a week? About the Vatican. We talked about the Vatican the other day. I would love to go there. Mostly, I would like to see their observatory and their library. I didn't know there was an observatory at the Vatican. Do you mean an observatory to look into space? I had no idea they had one of those there. I know there are certain areas of the library are off limits, but did you get to see their observatory? No, I didn't. I didn't know there was one there. I have something very interesting to tell you about the Vatican that a scientist told me, but I am at work and will have to address this subject later. Yeah, please do, Susan. If you get a chance, tell us about your trip to the Vatican. Not many of us will ever get to see it. Not now. I'll try and do that another time. Well, what's the time now? Oh, quickly. Vatican, my advice is if you ever go, leave your hotel early, get there for 8:30 in the morning, and go straight to St. Peter's Church, okay? Because if you wait, if you leave it till 10 o'clock, there is a queue as long as so long. It's unbelievable. You've got to get there early if you go to the Vatican. Great place. You need at least a whole day to go around and have a look at things. The souvenir shops are not overpriced, okay? Very good. When you're going into the church, you must be properly dressed. Do not try and get in with a pair of shorts on, because you'll be told quite rightly that you've got to go and put a pair of trousers on. Okay, well, certainly for the men. I'm not sure. I think the girls as well. Don't muck about in the church. You'll be chucked out of the church. Okay, they really do demand respect when you go in that church, and it's the most beautiful place. You will also find men that are in there in dark suits and glasses. They do look like mafia. Do not be afraid of them. If you need to know anything, just ask one of them. I found them extremely helpful. They were the ones that made sure people weren't mucking about. I saw 3 occasions in there when there were youngsters in there laughing and joking with Walkmans on, and they were grabbed and had a word with. You know, a very strong word with them. But these blokes in the suits, very helpful. As soon as they realise you are in there and respecting what it is, then they're fine. Ask them if you need to know anything. Beautiful place. Beautiful, beautiful place. And if you are Catholic or are into religion in any way at all, you will be probably very overcome while you're in there, as I was. So take some tissues with you, all right? Because it is quite marvellous. Masses, if you want to attend mass or confession, going on all the time in there, just to join in, really, okay? And it's the most beautiful experience. Highly recommended, the Vatican, okay? Susan says, I'm sorry not yet sending pictures of my house. My sister that lives in Port Aransas, the sister in the photo with the lion, yes, I've seen that, is coming up to see me this week. I've been trying to get my house and yard looking nice for her arrival. Oh, I know what you mean. When Mum was alive and whenever she was coming round here, the Hoover would go round the house, the cleaning stuff would go out. So it will probably be this coming weekend before I can send pictures of my hovel. I think you've got more than a hovel there. I'm sure it's a lovely place you've got. Also, in regards to my recent political email, sorry for the rant, I get very disgusted with the politics over here in the US. It seems to me that it should be one person, one vote, but it is not that way. It works over here. Yeah, we do find it, or certainly I find it, very complicated the way your politics works in the States there, my darling. Gore had the most individual votes in the last election, but the Electoral College in Florida cast their votes for Bush. So here we go again. I think it's best if I just don't waste my time discussing politics from now on. Have a wonderful time at your sister's place. See, this is how long old this is. This is a couple of weeks old, this. And I did indeed have a lovely time. Thanks again for the Rhinestone Cowboy song. I sat at my desk smiling and having a wonderful time while watching it. And thank you for saying you will send me a mug. Here, you've got the mug now, haven't you, Susan? Which she drinks her coffee out of. Thank you, Susan. Finally today, we're just getting one more email. We're still ploughing away at this. Now, if I'm right in thinking, the rest of the emails here are quite short. Okay, we've got 2 more long ones, and the rest are fairly short. So I'm hoping. Oh, hang on, we have got a few more still here. We'll carry on with these in the next show. Final email today from young Leigh last, because he recently sent in. If you were listening to the show a couple of shows ago, Leigh is a young lad who's recently been to Spain in the marvellous water park that they've got there. I can't remember what it's called now. Hang on a minute. Have we got it here? La Fosca, L-A. and then F-O-S-C-A, La Fosca. And he's been to this fantastic water park there. And he sent me some pictures in, and with all these rows of tents. And I wondered what were the tents for, because I assumed he was sleeping in a hotel. And he says, "Hiya, Chris. Well, the tents, we slept in them. No hotels or stuff, and it was still brilliant, though. The only thing is, I should imagine a tent in Spain must be really hot to sleep in that, isn't it? Oh, I mean, places like Spain and Florida, you need that air conditioning. You don't really need it here in the UK, to be honest. I'm on holiday again, our usual summer break location of Kellingheath in North Norfolk, where he goes with his family every year, back on Wednesday the 6th of August. So you'll be just back when this programme... but just back a couple of days after this programme's gone out, I think. I also think you've got very good writing, and I wrote to him and said you should perhaps look for a job in writing or journalism or something like that, because he's really a very good writer. That's it today for the show. As always, thank you very much for joining me. Another email catch-up programme next on the next show for you. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. See you on the next show. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye now.